right now is you have a situation where if you take into account people, nature, and climate, these factors are not being taken into account in core systems in business and investment. So the business as usual means 1% of wealth can be kept. 1% of the population can keep over 75% of the wealth, right? And that is not a system that is sustainable. We need to create more equitable systems for business investors to participate globally, regionally, and nationally. And that's where we need to have people where the community and entrepreneurs have to be key players of generating wealth, but that wealth needs to be kept with them. The second one is climate action, means that if we don't take fundamentally different action to what we have now, we will be creating a world which is unstable. There is no business as usual, investment as usual scenario. The last 10 years, we have had the hottest period more than the last 125,000 years. So that means that we are going to a fundamentally different physical environment that no one knows. So when you look at climate action and what is needed from business investors, they cannot work on a business as usual, investment as usual, because it's grossly inequitable, and we have an environment that is no longer stable. The opportunity side is that when you look at sustainable development goals, to implement this, even though there's about 1.6 trillion that is spent annually, there's an additional 4.3 trillion that is needed to be invested, and that must come from the business and private sector. What does that mean? That means that this is the source for new business, investment, and growth opportunities if we get that right. So if we turn the challenge into a business and investment opportunity, that funding gap needs to be filled by business investors. So my advice and views and message to business investors is you must do this, because otherwise you will no longer have your ongoing concern as a business and investment, and you cannot rely on that. And more fundamentally, this is a once-in-a-generation business and investment opportunity, but you must do that work now. Countries have committed to these targets. In Colombia, in the nationally determined contribution plans, in the national plans on sustainable development, they've outlined the areas of focus down to sectoral and regional level. Now is the time for businesses and investors to take these plans seriously and not just see this as government plans, not see this as and the environment as opportunities for tax breaks, but start to see these national plans on climate action and sustainable development as core to their own business and investment strategy. Once you see that, and you see the urgency of action now, the scale of disruption means that businesses have to look at their fundamental business model differently. But I think it's a time when businesses and investors need to start implementing these national plans at scale and at speed, and taking these seriously as well, working in partnership with the government. So this is where the public-private partnership, but with entrepreneurs, are critical. Entrepreneurs that have purpose, where their focus is on climate action, where their focus is on sustainable development, but their focus is also on ensuring local communities get jobs and investment from this, so that wealth that is generated is shared equitably. And so we need to reverse systems which tend to be very big projects with big investments with big corporates, to start seeing we need very small projects that are relevant immediately to communities, aggregate that with entrepreneurs, through those entrepreneurs get support from the big corporates and government to really scale this to be big investment opportunities.